Welcome to the 330 Sports Show. This is going to be our Cleveland Guardians, New York Yankees preview. So we are starting tonight. First pitch, 7:37 in the Bronx. Guardians, Yankees. Should be a great series. Guardians coming off a 2-0 series win versus the Tampa Bay Rays. We are on to the New York Yankees. My name is Justin Coffin, and this is the 330 Sports Show. We're going to bring you about a 10-minute breakdown of the Guardians-Yankees series, mostly from a Cleveland perspective, but we're going to give you a little bit of information on the New York Yankees as well. So let's recap the series and or a quick best of three series, but just because it was quick doesn't mean it was not intense. Game one, Bieber McClanahan. Guardians get that 2-1 victory. Tampa hits the home run. Ramirez comes right back and hits a 2-run shot to get the Guardians the win. A great performance by Bieber. Game two, McKenzie and Glasnow. Just a dominant pitching performance by both teams. Guardians win that 1-0 in a major league record 15 innings with 14 and a half of those innings being scoreless. So just amazing there. Had you on the edge of your seat during college football, which made it even more crazy. But the Guardians knock out the Tampa Bay Rays and move on to the New York Yankees. So let's take a look back at game one in the best of three. Cleveland 2-1. Again, Shane Bieber, 7 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts in that game. Emmanuel Clase, major league leader in saves this year. He came in for a 4-out save, no hits, no runs, no walks, did have 1 strikeout. As I mentioned, Jose Ramirez went 2 for 4, 1 home run, 2 RBIs, and obviously the run scored, off his home run. The loss went to Shane McClanahan, but he pitched his heart out. He pitched great. 7 innings for the American League All-Star starter in this year's All-Star game. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 5 Ks. And then Jose Siri, their center fielder, provided the only run of the game with a home run in, I believe it was the 6th inning for Tampa's only run in game one. Game two put 2 outstanding young pitchers on the mound. Cleveland obviously gets the 1-0 win in 15 innings. I got some great stats from this game for you from a major league historical perspective. But Oscar Gonzalez comes up, hits the walk-off home run to lead off the 15th inning. No runs were scored up until that point. Tristan McKenzie, 6 innings for earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Listen to these numbers for Tristan McKenzie. His last 17 starts, a 2.19 ERA, a 0.88 whip, and that's over 111 innings pitched, 117 Ks in those, only giving up 75 hits and 23 walks during that span. And in those 17 starts, he had quality starts over every AL playoff team. So the Yankees, the Rays, the Seattle Mariners, as well as the Houston Astros. So amazing performance by Tristan McKenzie in his first playoff appearance. And Sam Hentges comes in, gets the win, and listen to this. His last 14 games, 13 of which were in the regular season and game 2 of the playoffs, 16 1/3 innings pitched, no earned runs, 22 strikeouts, 4 hits, and only 3 walks during that span. Look at this crazy pitching line from the bullpen. They pitched the equivalent of a complete game over 9 innings, 12 strikeouts, only giving up 4 hits, 3 walks, and obviously no earned runs in that 15 innings. And they needed all, I believe it was 7 guys that came in and did a fantastic job for the Cleveland Guardians. So here's some wild stats from that game. The two teams pitching staffs combined for 39 strikeouts, which is a new postseason record. Cleveland had 20 strikeouts from their pitching staff, and Tampa Bay had 19 strikeouts. So pretty much right down the middle, even for there. But Cleveland gets the one run across the plate, which was all they needed, and turned out to be a big one. So the Guardians move on, knocking out the Tampa Bay Rays. Have a couple more interesting stats here for you. So the Guardians and Rays were scoreless entering the 15th inning before that Oscar Gonzalez home run. The first postseason game to ever go that long without anyone crossing the plate. The next longest scoreless postseason game was just 2 years ago, but the opener of the Atlanta and Cincinnati Wild Card Series in 2020, it went scoreless through 12 and a half innings, and the Braves then won it in the bottom of the 13th. The only games in Major League Baseball postseason history to be scoreless through 10 innings, the 2020 game, which I just mentioned, 1997, you got to go all the way back to a Cleveland-Baltimore game. I believe it was Mike Mussina and maybe Charles Nagy that pitched that game. 1981 before that, Game 2 of LA Dodgers-Houston Astros, the NLDS. And the year before that, NLCS, Game 3, Philly and Houston. And then all the way back to 1969, the ALCS Game 2, Minnesota and Baltimore. That's it. Those are the only games in Major League Baseball history in the playoffs to go scoreless through 10 innings. Now, I'm just going to call this doing more with less. Look at what the Cleveland Guardians front office. Now, I know the Dolans get a lot of heat for not spending the money. They did lock up Ramirez long term, which, credit to him too for taking a home team discount. But look at some of these numbers. These are the remaining teams left in the playoffs: Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Padres, Braves, Astros, Mariners, and Guardians. So again, doing more with less. The LA Dodgers have 111 wins. That's unbelievable. But look how much they're spending. They're spending $200 million more than the Cleveland Guardians on this year's payroll alone, $282.7 million. The Yankees, $265 million. Phillies, $255 million. Padres, $236. Atlanta, $200. Houston, $193 million. Seattle, $129 million roughly. And then the Guardians way down there, not within basically $45 million of any of these teams, is the next closest. So just unbelievable what they're doing with this young of a roster. So hats off to Antonetti and the front office and what they're doing with what they're given, and just an unbelievable job of scouting, developing, and credit to these players too for stepping up. And then obviously, with a lot of young players, you're not paying as much, but this is just shows how young this team is. The Cleveland Guardians are officially the third best team in the modern baseball era at this young of an age. The only younger teams higher than them are a pennant-winning Cincinnati Reds team. I believe that was in the early 90s, and then a World Series winning Mets squad, which I believe was 1986. So just an incredible run for these Cleveland Guardians. Let's take a look at the postseason picture as it stands now. We're going to get started with the ALCS and NLCS. Tonight, you got the Guardians and the Yankees in the 2-3 matchup. You have the Astros and the Seattle Mariners, who knocked off the Blue Jays. So Houston is the 1 seed. Seattle will be the 5 seed. So 1, 2, 3, and 5 left in the American League. In the National League, you had the Padres knocking off the Mets to advance. They're going to take on their division rival, Los Angeles Dodgers. That should be a great series. And then you had Philadelphia winning that series 2-0, but very competitive series. They advance as the 6th seed and will take on the number 2 seed Atlanta Braves. So that we got some really, really good matchups, and should be a lot of fun going forward. So let's take a look real quick at the Guardians and the Yankees. The Yankees obviously come in as the betting favorite. They are minus 170, which means you'd have to bet $170 on the Yankees to win the series to win 100. Cleveland is plus 140, so that means you bet 100, you win 140, as Cleveland is the underdog in this series. So this is a best of 5. All the games, I believe, will be on TBS. I know the first two are. I believe the whole series will be on TBS. And you got Bob Costas. I really like Bob Costas. He's going to be doing most of these games. So game 1, New York will be in New York. The Guardians at the Yankees. 7:37 first pitch. You got Cal Quantrill taking the mound, 15-5 with a 3.38 ERA against Garrett Cole, the Yankees ace, 13-8 with a 3.50 ERA. Should be a good pitching matchup, especially with the way Quantrill's been pitching. But Garrett Cole, we know, is a strikeout machine. But the one thing is these Guardians do not strike out much. So we'll see. They can put the ball in play and do some damage and maybe grab 1 or 2 games in New York before it shifts back to Cleveland. Game 2 will be Shane Bieber, the winner of Game 1 against Tampa, versus Nestor Cortez, who's put up some really nice numbers this year, made the All-Star team. And then in Game 3, you'll have Game 2's winner. This game will be back in Cleveland. This will be Tristan McKenzie versus Luis Severino. That game will be on Saturday. So there's going to be off days. So Game 1 is going to be Tuesday night. Game 2 will be Thursday. You'll have an off day in between. And then you'll have an off day in between Game 2 and 3 as it shifts to Cleveland. Then Game 4, if necessary, will be Sunday. And Game 5, if necessary, will shift back to New York and be Monday, October 17th. So that's a look at the overall days and games in this series. The Yankees pretty much dominated this series for the most part during the regular season. Now, the first 3 games were played in New York very, very early in the season when the Guardians were still trying to find themselves. They were struggling a bit. The Yankees started red hot, as we know, throughout the series. Yankees had a 4-1 win, a 5-4 comeback in the 9th, which turned ugly. If you remember, that was when I believe Stephen Kwan went down on the track and fans were throwing stuff and saying stuff at him. And then you had Miles Straw jumping up in on the wall, protecting his teammate. And it just got really ugly as the Yankees fans were throwing a bunch of stuff on the field. It turned into a really ugly scene. And then the Yankees won the next day 10-2. Shifted to Cleveland. Had a rain out, and then it was a doubleheader. Yankees swept that doubleheader 13-4 and 6-1. And then finally, in the final game of the regular season series between these two, the Guardians got their first win, shutting out the Yankees 2-0. That was on July 3rd. So these teams have not played, let's see, what is it? August, September, October. So it's been 3 months since these teams have played. So, obviously the Guardians are much improved, and the Yankees had some late in the year struggles. So we'll see if that maybe evens out and matches these two teams up nice for this series. You take a look at this New York Yankee roster that finished 99-63, American League East champs. They had a team batting average, not very impressive average, 241, which was kind of middle of the pack. However, they had the 3rd best ERA at 3.30. They scored the 2nd most runs in baseball, had the most home runs in baseball. And, if you don't watch a whole lot of games in Yankee Stadium, that stadium is a bandbox, which means, anyone could really hit a home run there. It's a short porch in right field, and it's kind of an easy, nice, easy swing to left field too. Center field is deep, but, the left and right field corners are for the taking for just about any hitter. The Yankees also led the league in walks, 620. That was due in large part to Aaron Judge, their right fielder, who just put up amazing numbers this year. Almost pulled out the Triple Crown, but did not have the batting average to finish first, but had a 311 batting average, which is still amazing. 62 home runs, setting the new American League record, New York Yankees record, way back to 1961 and Roger Maris. He had 131 RBIs and 133 runs scored on the season. Just a fantastic season, most likely the American League MVP. And then you got their pitching ace, Garrett Cole, number 45, had a 13-8 record, 3.5 ERA, 257 strikeouts to 50 walks. So very, very nice season for Garrett Cole, their ace. But no one is perfect in this. Aaron Judge is prone to the strikeout. Garrett Cole can be had if you can put some good at bats together. And a strikeout pitcher versus a team that does not strike out a ton should be an interesting matchup. The potential lineup for the New York Yankees, now obviously this could be fluid, but most likely looking at Judge leading off, playing right field, Rizzo playing first base, Gleyber Torres at second, Josh Donaldson at third base, Giancarlo Stanton at the DH, Oswaldo Cabrera in left, Harrison Bader center field, Isaiah, I believe it's Kiner Falefa at shortstop, and Jose Trevino, the catcher. So a very veteran-laden team for this Yankee squad, but again, not infallible, not a perfect team. They do have some flaws and some areas where the Guardians could take advantage. So this should be an interesting matchup in this best-of-5 series. And as Jake Taylor used to say, I guess there's only one thing left to do. I'll let you finish that.